like finding good resources for learning jazz guitar is a bit of a wild goose chase.
Totally. I mean, you're out there scouring the web for decent transcriptions, trying to piece together harmony from like a million different sources.
Right. And then you're never really sure if your practice is, actually moving the needle.
It can be super frustrating. Okay, folks, gather around. Today, we're taking a look at something called elevatedguitarist.com.
Yeah. So when you were looking over this, what kind of grabbed your attention about it?
Well, I think what's fascinating about this is that it's trying to solve a very specific problem, right? Which is, learning jazz guitar can be a very long and sometimes frustrating journey. And the reliance on transcriptions, which is a huge part of learning jazz guitar, can be, tricky, and it can lead you down some paths that aren't so helpful.
For sure.
So I think the creator, being a jazz guitarist and a teacher themselves, they clearly understand that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the foundation of this whole thing, is that they understand the problem and they're trying to address it.
Yeah. And I think we've all been there, right? Where you're trying to find a good transcription of something, and it's either inaccurate or it's just like a vague suggestion of what was actually played.
Absolutely.
So this looks like they're really saying, no more of that. You're going to get the real deal here.
Yeah, it's going beyond just providing the notes, right? They're really thinking about how you use those transcriptions to improve. And that's a really key distinction, I think.
Yeah, and it's something that, we've talked about a lot before, which is like, how do we actually learn from the masters? By listening to their recordings and really dissecting their solos.
Yeah.
And it's not just about copying it note for note, but it's about understanding their musical language.
Exactly. It's like, a transcription isn't just a series of notes. It's like a snapshot of a musical mind in action.
I like that.
So by studying it closely, you start to absorb not just what they played, but why they might have made those specific choices over a particular chord progression or in a certain moment in the music. And that's where the real learning happens.
Absolutely. So let's dive into the specifics of this platform, because they've organized everything into what they call 3 main hubs. And the first one is the transcription hub. So what's in there?
So the transcription hub is kind of like the engine room, I guess you could say. It's where you find the premium transcriptions of solos by, famous jazz guitarists. But crucially, they're not just note-for-note copies.
Right.
They include harmonic insights. So, for
Right.
example, they might highlight a specific passing chord that was played and explain, its function in the harmony. They also provide articulation and fingering suggestions, which can be incredibly helpful.
Oh, for sure.
For understanding, how to actually execute the lines on the guitar. And then there are interactive backing tracks, which is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can actually practice with them. And they give some examples. They say, like, You Stepped Out of a Dream, the Grant Green version, and Satin Doll by Barney Kessel. So, those are fantastic tunes to learn from.
Yeah, like essential foundational solos right there.
Right.
So then there's the tune hub. So what's different about that?
So the tune hub kind of shifts the focus to the actual jazz standards themselves. So in here, you'll find harmonic breakdowns of the tunes, which is really valuable for understanding, the underlying chord progressions and how they work. They also go into the history of these standards, which can add another layer of appreciation for them. And importantly, they provide play-alongs, so you can actually practice improvising over the changes yourself.
Oh, nice.
And again, they mention the examples of You Stepped Out of a Dream and Satin Doll, which I think is a nice connection,
Yeah,
It's like you're studying the tune and then you're studying solos over it.
I like that a lot. It's not just a solo in isolation. It's like you're understanding the context in which it was played.
Exactly. And imagine, you're looking at that Grant Green solo over You Stepped Out of a Dream in the transcription hub. You can then jump over to the tune hub, get a deeper understanding of how the harmonic structure of that tune works, maybe learn about its history, and then you can go back to the solo with this much richer perspective.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So then we have the skill hub. And this one's interesting because it's actually free for anyone to access.
The Skill Hub looks like a really cool addition. It's packed with lessons, tips, and exercises covering all sorts of topics, from fundamental technique and improvisation concepts to like broader musicality ideas and even mindset and learning strategies, which I think is really cool that they've included that, because that's often, the thing that makes or breaks your progress is like
your mindset.
Yeah, exactly. Can you stay motivated? Can you get through those difficult moments? And they're addressing that directly.
So it's really a holistic approach. It's not just about the notes themselves. It's about the whole musician.
Exactly.
Now, to get access to all this, they have different membership levels, right?
Yeah, they have a few different tiers to cater to different needs. There's a free membership, which gives you a taste of what the platform offers, and that includes access to the Skill Hub.
Oh, cool.
And then you have the paid options, which are Explorer, Accelerator, and Expert.
Oh, yeah.
And as you move up the tiers, you unlock more content within the Transcription Hub and the Tune Hub. You get more free transcription downloads, and then eventually you get access to community features.
Which is really cool, I think.
Yeah, the community aspect is a big one.
Yeah, especially with those higher tiers, right?
Exactly. The Accelerator and Expert memberships let you connect with other musicians, participate in discussions, and get access to even more resources.
It's so valuable to have that kind of support system too, right?
Yeah, because learning an instrument can sometimes feel like a very solo journey.
Yeah,
So having that community element can really make a big difference.
for sure. Now, there's one more feature that I really wanted to touch on, which is their integration with the SoundSlice player. And for anyone who's familiar with SoundSlice, it's an amazing tool.
It's a game changer for learning music, for sure.
Can you talk a little bit about what that integration brings to the table?
So with SoundSlice, you can slow down a transcription without affecting the pitch. You can loop specific phrases that you're working on. You can transpose the music to different keys. You can even mute the original guitar track so you can play along yourself.
Oh, wow.
And these are all incredibly effective tools for really internalizing the nuances of a solo and developing your own ear and technique.
So it's really like an ultimate practice companion.
Yeah, it takes those transcriptions and makes them interactive.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so to kind of bring it all together, it sounds like Elevated Guitarist is offering a pretty comprehensive and interactive ecosystem for learning jazz guitar.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool is they've thought about all those common roadblocks that people run into when they're trying to learn this music.
And they've built a platform that, gives you a range of resources and features to address those roadblocks.
Yeah, and it's all structured in a way that seems very approachable and engaging.
Absolutely.
So for anyone listening, if you've ever felt that frustration of trying to find a good transcription, or you're just looking for a more structured and interactive way to learn from the masters, this is definitely a resource worth checking out.
Yeah, it's all about giving you the tools to learn, practice, and ultimately play better jazz guitar.
Right, and maybe this is something to think about, like what's been the biggest hurdle in your own jazz guitar journey so far?
Yeah.
And could a platform like this that has, the high quality transcriptions, the harmonic insights, the interactive tools, the community support, could that be the missing piece?
It's something to think about.
So that's elevatedguitarist.com. It's learn, practice, and play with jazz guitar transcription and more.
That's a good tagline.
Yeah, start elevating today.
I like it. And if you want to stay updated on the latest transcriptions and resources that they add, you can also sign up for their newsletter.
Nice.
All right, that's all we've got for today. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.